Hey, it's Silly Putty time. Yes, there are hours and hours of fun in the little egg that Silly Putty comes in. You can stretch and mold it into all kinds of funny-looking shapes or even make crazy-looking animals. And look, see how Silly Putty bounces. You can play ball with it. Silly Putty can bounce higher than any ball you've ever had.
Wow! What is Silly Putty? Well, it's a real solid liquid. If you pull it so, it'll go forever, like taffy. But if you give it a sharp tug, it'll break like a biscuit. Now, when you make Silly Putty round and drop it, it'll bounce higher than a rubber ball.
Alright, hey guys, and welcome back, as today we're going to take a look at a silly toy known around the world, Silly Putty. Now, Silly Putty originally got its start in 1943 when James Wright accidentally dropped some boric acid into silicone oil. The mixture solidified and turned into, well, a putty. The putty had remarkable qualities, like being able to be stretched really far, broken into small pieces and put back together again, and when rolled into a ball it could bounce really high. It could also copy images from newspapers and books. The new miracle product was instantly seen with potential for being a successful toy, and in 1943 it was marketed in conjunction with Dow Chemical Company by spokesperson Peter C. L. Hodgson. Silly Putty was very successful due to how much it could do and how inexpensive it was. The brand was later purchased by the Crayola Company in 1977, and is still one of the most popular and well-known toys in the world today.
Alright, hey guys, so now let's take a look at some of the different Silly Putties that I have here today. And yeah, that's right, I said some as in more than one version of Silly Putty. Now why would I have more than one version of Silly Putty? Doesn't that just seem, well, I don't know, silly I guess? Well, the reason is one of these is a much more modern version of Silly Putty, and the other one is a much older one. Now see if you can take a guess as to which one is which. Now, if you said the one on the left is the more modern one, and the one on the right is the older one, then you're correct. This one I got from Dollar Tree probably about a year or two ago, and this one, from my best research, seems to be from the early 90s, probably like 92 to 94, so this is like 20 to 30 years old, which is crazy, and the Silly Putty is still in there. Now, aside from the difference in the color, where this is a much brighter red, and this is a much darker and duller red, you also get a significantly less amount of Silly Putty in these canisters and the little eggs. And there's also a little date code on here, which I believe that's just in case there was like a recall or anything. Even though Silly Putty is supposed to be non-toxic, I believe that's just like a date of manufacture, you know, just for additional safety reasons and things like that. Now you're probably wondering, how the heck did I date an egg of Silly Putty? If you look at these under like a magnifying glass or something, you can see that there's actually differences in the fonts. That's probably not going to show up too well on the camera, but like with this font here, like the base of the S is wider, and in the newer one it's shorter and thinner. And so you can look at different examples, and that's how you can kind of tell, like, you know, okay, well, based on like eBay listings or something, like, you know, that's when one was produced, give or take, as opposed to a newer one. So let's open these both up here. Now this is the newer one, and there's a significantly less amount of Silly Putty in here. And if you've never seen Silly Putty, that's just what it is. It's just this pink kind of goo. I think it's made out of like petroleum, like non-toxic, I don't know, rubber, whatever, putty stuff. And that's that. Let's take a look at the older one, and you can see the difference here as to how much more you would have gotten in this older one. This whole thing is basically filled up, and you can see this thing's, that's all gross. That, like the difference in the color. That's much darker. I mean, it's, you know, been sitting in here for like 25, almost 30 years. And this, I'm not really gonna want to fool around with, even though, because like Silly Putty's non-toxic. But unless I had a good pair of gloves or something, like, it's just, I don't know what the heck could happen to Silly Putty over 30 years? Like, how could those chemicals in it change? And I really don't want to like be touching that and, you know, having like chemicals possibly go into my skin or something. So we're gonna like just mess around with the newer stuff today, and that's the older stuff. But you can tell, I mean, the difference, the weight is so significant. You got so much more in the older one. Now, I hope a lot of you growing up played with Silly Putty. If you didn't, let me tell you all the different stuff that you can do with it. Now, I remember having a lot of fun with this when I was growing up, especially like Sunday mornings when you get the big Sunday newspaper, and you would get the Sunday funnies. And one thing that Silly Putty used to do, and it doesn't anymore, which really surprised the heck out of me, and I didn't even realize this until I looked at the packaging for this. Now, what you used to be able to do is you used to be able to stretch it out, and you would see like a comic panel or something you thought was cool, and you could press it on there, and you'd peel it off, and you'd have a reverse mirror image of whatever you put down on it. Now, today with a lot more modern inks, it doesn't pick that up. But I also don't think that it's just the inks. I believe that the way that it's manufactured, whatever was in it all those years ago, I don't believe this would still work either, just because it's so old and dried out. It probably wouldn't pick it up either. I just think there's something in it now that does not allow it to pick it up, because if you look in the packaging, it doesn't even show that you can copy stuff. And I remember growing up, you could like copy it, and I believe you could like put it on like, you know, on your hand. You could do like a little copy on your skin and stuff like that. And that was a really cool thing you could do with it. So it's kind of a bummer that you can't do that with Silly Putty anymore. Something else you can do with it is you can stretch it and break it apart and put it back together, and actually has a really good elasticity where it stretches really nice. And it totally breaks apart. You can break it into a million pieces and put it all back together like nothing happened. Which kind of reminds me, if you've ever seen those toys like the Manglors, I wonder if they were made out of something kind of like Silly Putty, to where you're able to, you know, break them apart, and the monsters you could put back together again. So there's that. And then you can also roll it up into like a nice little ball or whatever you want. I don't know how well it's going to do here. Probably not very well, but you can bounce it. Oh, it's actually better than I expected. And, you know, if you do it on like a floor or outside, it actually has a pretty good little bounce to it. But it is a shame that you can't copy stuff with it anymore, because that's really cool. And like I said, I don't know if that's because of the inks or just because of the way they're making the Silly Putty now. And I think that's more along the lines of what it is. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed taking a look at my little mini review here of an all-time toy classic with Silly Putty, the new and the old. Definitely comment down below. You know, you guys remember this? Do you remember having fun with it? You know, am I wrong? Is there a different type of Silly Putty where you still can copy stuff? Do you guys know the reason as to why that it can't? Definitely comment down below. Hope you like learning about this interesting little vintage and classic toy, and I will see you guys back here next time. Take care.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time.